I give you
Warcraft Reforged.
Well, Blizzard has finally responded. It's been days since Warcraft 3 Reforged has released, and we haven't really heard anything official from Blizzard. This is not uncommon for them or for game developers when you have a disastrous launch. See, the thing is, Blizzard knew this was going to happen. You didn't push the game out live on the 28th or 29th or whatever it was and not know it. The testers knew. The suits knew. Everybody knew. But rather than delay it, because they needed to get that sweet revenue in before their financial quarter ended, they pushed it out anyway. Disgusting. Make no mistake about it, this is a 100% greed manufactured problem. The remaster itself is greed driven. Now you can do a remaster and do it justice, but you're talking about a game that historically had like a 92 to 95% ratings. Extremely high satisfaction rate for that game. To reforge it or remaster it now, you would have had to do something truly amazing. And they delivered basically the exact opposite of that. Now, late on February 3rd, Polygon finally started covering this debacle. And as the day ended, as I'm looking at their stock right now, in fact, I'll just switch over so you can see, it has continued to plummet. See this peak here? This is Thursday, January 30th, the day of or the day before the game came out. And what happened to the Activision stock after that? Hundreds of millions lost in market cap. I mean, you're dropping all the way down here to 58.21 when you were at 60.89, down almost $3 in the 5-day. And if we look at the 1 day here, we can see how it trails off at the end of the day as well. So we're looking at upcoming close numbers. And 10 hours ago, Activision Blizzard, had their financial reports. That's what everyone's waiting to see. They're set to report fourth quarter results on February 6th. So this drop could be telling us that people are not optimistic about the finances of Activision Blizzard, which I don't know. I'm sure they're making a ton of money, right? They sold an absolute pile of Call of Duty, and they sold a ton. Everybody's playing Call of Duty Mobile. To me, the likelihood of Activision Blizzard not making hundreds of millions is low. But as we know, investors don't want you to make money. They want you to make all the money. Now, they waited just long enough to finally put out a statement now. The community manager puts out, Heil Warcraft 3 players, we've been following the discussions the past couple days. I want to thank you for your feedback as well as your support. First off, we want to say we're sorry to those of you who didn't have the experience you expected, and we'd like to share our plans for what's coming next. This is absolutely unacceptable. You don't get to take millions of dollars up front and then just say, sorry. You should have delayed the game. As we see in Polygon, Blizzard is offering automatic refunds for Warcraft 3 Reforged. Players who feel burned can submit a ticket for a full refund. Warcraft 3 has not had a first good look, with player complaints that the game changed too much, rampant technical issues. The relaunch isn't living up to Warcraft 3's illustrious legacy. Seemingly aware of the game's flaws, Blizzard is now offering instant refunds on Warcraft 3 Reforged via tickets on the website. According to fans in the subreddit, Blizzard support will grant players a refund regardless of how long they played the game. And certain people have played the final version of Warcraft 3 for over 5 hours and still received a refund with no issue. Many other users in the comment section commented on how easy it was. Players are unhappy with Warcraft 3 Reforged for a number of reasons. Most are laid out in a terrible Warcraft 3 refunded website. I don't know what to tell you. When you have this situation, okay, that you do with Warcraft 3, what can anyone hope to turn this around? I don't think that, I guess you argue that, okay, well, hopefully, eventually the game gets to be great. I don't see that happening. I mean, I just don't see that happening for Blizzard at this point. They're so far away. I suppose there's the fans that, you know, are carrying on and will continue to carry on, but nonetheless, will continue. There were a few hours during launch day where we experienced server load issues that impacted players' ability to jump right in, but we were able to resolve that. Separate from that, we've seen community feedback about different aspects of Reforged that we want to take some time to address. Yeah, I don't think that people were extraordinarily upset about just the bugs. It was so much more than that. The team is excited that Warcraft 3 Reforged is finally upon us, and we're fully committed to supporting the game for a long time to come. The next few patches and updates we'll discuss below as just a part of our ongoing plans. The game is an integral part of the Blizzard DNA. With a team that loves Warcraft 3, we're looking forward to pouring our hearts in. Why are you telling us this now? This is what you should have been doing for the past several months. This is what should have been done before you took penny one from your customers. We've identified a bug causing the colors and shading to look different from the original Warcraft 3, and we're testing a fix that will be incorporated in a larger patch addressing this issue and others. We expect to release that later this week. The patch will also address many other known issues, such as fixing the portrait animations, audio bugs, implementing UI fixes, and more. Please keep an eye. This is Anthem, right? This is Anthem all over again. I don't know any other way to describe it. This is just Anthem again. The way they're like, well, yeah, there's a myriad of issues, but oopsie doopsie poopsie. We'll get working on that. Just don't worry about it. We've got your money. Everything's okay. Another area of concern we're seeing is regarding the online features such as leaderboards and clans, which applies to all Warcraft 3 players, including those who haven't purchased Reforged. Remember, by the way, this is probably worse than the Fallout 76 debacle because it managed to screw over everyone who had already purchased the original many years ago. So, including those who haven't purchased Reforged. At BlizzCon, we talked a lot about how teams are actively working on setting up the backend to ensure a smooth transition to the new MMR system, which, like what we did with StarCraft Remastered, as a remastered, these and other features will be included in a major patch for Reforged, which will also address the issues for players of the original game. Why wasn't this done at launch? You knew that this would be a problem. You admit that it would be a problem going through StarCraft, and you didn't care. There are some individual concerns we've seen we're not currently planning to address, and we wanted to give the community a heads up. As of version 1.3, the original game, we saw very low use of tournaments and Reign of Chaos rule set, so we removed both in mid-2019 via version 1.31. Eliminating the maintenance for underused elements has helped us streamline our overall support. Related to that, as far as we talked about last year at BlizzCon, we did not want the in-game cutscenes to steer too far from the original game. We went a little deeper into the thought process behind that at the show, but the main takeaway, the campaigns tell one of the classic stories of Warcraft history. We want to preserve the true spirit of Warcraft 3 and allow players to relive these unforgettable moments as they were, albeit rebuilt with new animations and higher fidelity art. But you didn't deliver that. You didn't deliver that. You promised all new updated cutscenes and new voiceovers and things like that. You didn't do that. We know this update doesn't address all questions, but we're committed to the development and support of this game. We hope you'll keep an eye out. Wow, thanks. 283 replies out of 219 users. Here we go. Let's look at the replies. At least you said something. I can feel like a person writing this hate each word. I think a lot of players won't come back or create custom maps until they fix the EULA. Too long didn't read. Is anything going to be done about the poor optimization? I can't even play custom games with low everything. I have a Radeon 380 and an Intel Core i9 4790 with 16 gigs of RAM. Do I not meet recommendations, let alone there is no reason my GPU should be getting into the 90 degrees Celsius range? Question. Is a EULA for map edits really the issue? How could you handle something like one player making one small change to an already created map? Oh, they're talking about that. Fair enough. Very happy I got refunded when I did. The game is terrible, and this does nothing to address it. Control F, custom campaign, results not found. Bring back 2018 demo UI. Summary. Here's a good one. You aren't ever going to actually apologize and acknowledge what you did, so instead you'll just say sorry to those of you who didn't have your experience that you wanted. You are fixing some of the bugs this week. You're going to add online features like clans and leaderboards that should have been there from day one but aren't telling us when. You aren't going to give us the cutscenes that were promised and are instead going to insert it's because you want to allow us players to relive these unforgettable moments. That's exactly right. That's what my reaction was when I read that. I was like, oh, so you don't want to do the work. Oh, okay. You aren't going to address any of the other questions for a long time, if ever. Why the heck should we waste our money and energy on this company? I mean, you know, it's tough because you don't necessarily want to blame the developers directly because, you know, people still decided to push this out. The individual developers know that this was half-baked, certainly. Espada, got my refund done. More empty words on broken promises. So do I. You could tell this wasn't really their fault. They're talking about the developers. Then we look like some of the actual quote tweets. So you simply upgrade the old lore with the new graphics and will not bring new customers. People want to see the third Tales in WoW, not the ones that have been now retconned. I understand you want to keep the true spirit of Warcraft 3 so they can't be forgotten, but with this choice, no one will play campaign like they should do. Maybe get remastered cinematics for StarCraft in while you're at it. Pathetic damage control. Okay, but I want to point out there's more issues with SD than just the ones I mentioned. I mean, don't forget about the new chat menu. There's all sorts of just angry comments. So it didn't cross your mind that the low usage of tournaments, it's because of how buggy they can be and sometimes how hard it is to find someone who can host. The hosting bug was not addressed. You're joking, essentially saying nobody used it because it was bugged. Here's the one posting out Stoke saying to the comment, related to that, we talked about last year at BlizzCon, we didn't want in-game cutscenes to steer too far, blah, blah, blah. They reply, so why are you still advertising the game using the cutscene that you decided was too far removed from the original? How about this one? Have been playing Blizzard games since my childhood and have always enjoyed them. Warcraft 3 by far my favorite, even beating Diablo 2. Seeing what happened past to Warcraft 3, first with the removal of host spots, clans, and networks, which kept your game alive for years, up to the point where the game is unplayable, yet enjoyable. I was about to buy Warcraft 3 Reforged. What I read about the stuff you or your outsourced company, whatever, did to this game, it broke my heart. I'm glad I still have the old versions of the game installed. Warcraft 3 Reforged looks like a downgrade to the main game, and you didn't address the slightest issues. It's not about the cutscenes, it's about missing features. It's about the whole game I'm disappointed in after the hope since this announcement. Warcraft 3 Reforged will be the first game not to be added to my collection. Activision strikes again. You know, it's sad. You know, the lies here are just palpable. You see here, this game was an integral part of Blizzard DNA. This is from Grimm, with which the team that loves Warcraft 3, and we're looking forward to pouring our hearts into it. So the company decided to give it to someone else to create. Gotcha. Graphics aside, if you weren't able to ship a proper upgrade to what is the base game in 2 years, no one has any expectations. What will you be able to make anything good out of the existing situation for quite some time in the future? You only had to build on top of what already was flawless foundations, but instead you decided to strip the game of even more essential features than the number of newly introduced ones. The only good thing that came out of all this mess is the influx of new users to the platform and ability to cross-play using old and new versions. To be honest, at this point, none of us are interested in hearing about what you plan to do to improve the product. Those that refunded the game might be a little harder to convince than some of us that held out by not liking the new aesthetic from the very start. If you want to spend money on your game, come with results that you would be proud of. It's so easy. It's like, how do you screw this up? You're improving something that so many people already loved, and you managed to put it in the dumpster. Congratulations, Blizzard. It'll be interesting to see how your earnings look and how the market continues to react to more and more uproar about this. Old Blizzard is dead.